Hello, Wasteland! Yes, welcome back, brothers! That's right, we're here to look at Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for February 2024! That's right, the fifth season of this fine competition, my brothers. As always, I'm your host, James Hall of JH Miniatures, and this episode has been kindly sponsored and brought to us by Nick Iyer over at North Star Military Figures. So just before we get into today's episode, can we all just take a moment to give a massive post-apocalyptic thank you to North Star Military Figures for continuing to sponsor this wonderful competition of ours. Oh yes. Now, you guys know who North Star are. They are a fantastic supplier of some of the first, when Gaslands entered the scene, they were making some of the first metal figures to put onto your post-apocalyptic war buggies. So as always, a massive thank you to this month's sponsor. Check out the website in the description box down below. And with a sponsor like this, you know that the prizes have to be absolutely titanic for this competition. Oh yes. So first place will receive not just one, but both Implements of Carnage sprues, 1 and 2. Oh yes. And the Sponsor's Choice Award, as chosen by Nick Iyer over at North Star, will again win the Implements of Carnage sprue 1 and 2. What can I say? He's feeling generous this month, my friends. And with prizes like these, you know that the theme this month had to be something absolutely outrageous, something absolutely classic, something returning to the heart and soul of the Wasteland, my brothers. That's right. Nick Iyer wanted you to create the last of the V8 Interceptors. That's right, a V8 engine-themed month. We wanted to see big, bombastic, outrageous builds, perfectly summing up that Mad Max experience that we all know and love, of the dirt and the oil and the fire and the apocalypse, the Armageddon that we also enjoy. And with the Mad Max Furiosa film glowing on the horizon like an atomic star, this was the time, my brothers. This was the time for this theme. Oh yes, we wanted to see what crazy, outrageous V8 engine-themed beast you could come up with. And what can I say? You, my friends, have not disappointed. Yes, but let us start this month off strong, my brothers, and look at the work at the one, the only Kev Williams for this month. Oh, yes. I mean, with a theme like this, as closely tied to the beating heart of Mad Max, how could we not start off by looking at a wonderful Razor Cola inspired build? I mean, this is it, isn't it? This is just peeled straight off of the film and onto the screen in front of you. And there is something iconic about this look, isn't there? I think what kind of does me in a little bit, Kev, is this seems a bit simple for you, my friend. Like, there's not a lot of conversion work that's going on here. And I know a lot of you are going to say, but if you're making something that's true to the film, I mean, you're just going to get the body of an XB Falcon and just leave it at that, aren't you, right? Well, the reality is there's a lot of work that needs to go into it. It's not just the paint job; it's the conversion work as well. I mean, I love the rear suspension, that camsel design kit with the camsel wheels. Absolutely fantastic. The exhaust and the engine and all the sort of 3D printed and kit bits, perfectly fine. I've got no issues with them. They're just a bit standard. It's just a bit basic. Like, I suppose the best way to sum this up is, you see how that wonderful engine is sort of glued onto the bonnet. You could have just removed the bonnet and just sunk the engine into the body a bit, and you'd have had a similar effect. Not the same effect, because this isn't exactly the same as the Razor Cola that we see in the Fury Road film, but it's close, and it's close enough, and it catches the eye. This whole build is a bit spray it silver, maybe a light wash, and a dust of dirty brown, and that's it, you're done. And it's like, come on, Kev, I know you could have worked those angles a bit more. You could have maybe had a second sandy colour to dry brush some of the areas, or it's just a bit basic. and some of the work you've done, my friend, is just absolutely fantastic. So I know you've got it in you. I was expecting, honestly, Kev, with some of your previous builds, you love the North Star military figure metal miniatures. You use them in all your builds, but you've not used any in this build, and this is exactly the build to do it in, right? Like this is the Mad Max. Like get a couple of the war boys on there, like one standing on the back with a with a big harpoon that he's about to throw, or a driver or something. But instead, you've just got that great big open area inside with a little bit of dusting on the seats, and it's like, oh, come on, buddy, come on. Lovely work as always, Kev. One of our longest running contenders in this competition, and I look forward to seeing what you have in store for us for March's competition. Oh, yes. But if we are talking about Mad Max inspired builds, how can I not look at the work of Aurelian Wood for this month? Oh, yes. Oh, Aurelian, my friend. What a build, what an entry. I love how rags to riches this build is. Like this is I have built this from nothing. I've had paper clips and scrap bits of other cars, and I'm going to do this by hand. And this is going to be my car that I have made. And you can't find this out in the Wasteland. This is a one of a kind masterpiece. Oh, Aurelian, I love it. I'm always a sucker for these kind of junkyard dog, like just bashing bits of random cars together that are from our scrap bin to make a whole new vehicle. And it works really well. And I love all the little secret skull details that you've added on there, which I'm guessing is a combination of both like plasticard that you've cut, like the wheel at the back, right? And then like maybe a little bit of green stuff work, like the teeny tiny skull on the steering wheel or the hidden skulls on the well, I want to say that's an exhaust on the side, but it's not. It's actually a boomstick, the harpoon holder, isn't it? Oh, mate, it's really nice. I think the people look great. They've got that iconic movie look. I I want you to get a bit more variation between the skin tones and things like the skulls that you paint to look like skulls, because it's the same color. It looks the same color. The actual little grenade cans on the ends of the harpoons, the boomsticks. I think they're wonderful. That's a wonderful bit of conversion and paintwork right there. Ah, oh, there's just something about it, isn't there? It almost has like a tractor front end. It's not. It's a amalgamation of different bits of plastic and kits and goodness knows what. I want to say the engine's scratch built, and if it is, that's a great bit of work. But mate, what is going on with that blower? Because that is a gnarly bit of work, isn't it? Like I can see you've drilled like 3 holes into a piece of plastic to make that, which is fine, but you need to clean the inside up with like a knife or something just to make it a bit neater. And honestly, the only thing that's letting this down is just the metals all being the same solid metal color. You could pull out like some of the exhausts, you paint those in a brighter silver and then blacken the ends where the exhaust and the flames would shoot out. That would look really good. That would look so good. And super, super simple trick for anyone that's doing custom wiring. There's a lot of you this month that did custom wiring on the engines. Absolutely adore it, by the way. Just paint it a different color. Paint it white or yellow, and it would just jump out against that red. It wouldn't jump out so much that it looks out of place, but it would jump out enough that it just wonderfully catches the eye, and you go, yes, custom engine work. I like it. Fantastic work. Fantastic, Aurelian. And I look forward to what else you have in store for us this year, my friend. Oh, yes. Carrying on the trend of Fury Road inspired builds. How can I not look at the work of Leo Sierras? Oh, yes. Oh, Leo, my friend. And this giant polecat inspired build. This is one of the vehicles that the guys at the towards the end of the film in the race, they're like dangling off of to get onto the back of the war rig. It's I kind of wish that you made the actual pole part not a bendy flexible tube, because it kind of breaks the illusion, it breaks the look that you're going for. It almost has a bit of a big sort of wobbly fire extinguisher look to it, and I don't think that's what you were going for, my friend. Or maybe it is meant to be like a big hose or something. Because I'm looking at like, okay, so there's that gas tank. There's a little gas can right in the rear passenger side, and there's like a little bit of an oily spill color coming out of that. And then directly next to it, it looks like the big hose goes into another oil can. Was this just a really dodgy attempt at like a flamethrower or something? Because, mate, that is not how flamethrowers work. What is this build, Leo? And therein lies the problem. If we're scratching our heads and we can't figure it out, oh boy, sometimes you have to spell it out for us, okay, my friend? It needs a bit more time in the oven. Because this isn't one of the refueling vehicles with all the barrels of oil and so on, and that this is like a big pump to shove in things. Like, no, this looks like you're meant to be going for the polecat. You know, the guy's going to be dangling on the end of that as he jumps onto a vehicle next to him. It's just the execution that's letting this down. At the back and then at the front, it's pretty solid. You know, the blower itself, wonderful little bit there that you've hollowed out, or it might, if it's two parts, that might have already come hollow. But just a wonderful sort of, enormous extension at the front. I want to say this is a Mercedes. Like, it's a really nice car. It's a really nice car, and you've completely ragged it with with this over the top dusty wasteland paint job. Oh man, down to the bare metal. It's a real simple and effective build. I think it's just the concept of the pole at the back, because that's my guess. That's what I'm guessing it's meant to be, because it doesn't look like it's meant to be a big wobbly fire extinguisher or something like that. And then the actual guy at the back, he is two colours. He is black and he is white. Oh, tell a lie. There's a bit of silver on him. There's silver on his boots and his trousers and his like little skirt thing. Mate, that is, oh boy. You know what I'm like when it comes to pointing out figures, and I like my figure paint jobs to be spot on. And whew, three colours. That no, that is not good enough, my friend. That's a big oof from me, I'm afraid. I do like it, Leo. There's bits and pieces to work on this. Great stuff, my friend. And keep coming back for more. I want to see what else you have in store for us. I want to see what you do for March. Oh, yes. But if we are talking about Fury Road inspired builds, how can I not talk about the work of my boy, John Simpson Wedge from this month? Oh, yes, and his Parenti inspired build. Straight from the silver screen and into the competition. What can I say? Oh, John, what a work of art you have presented here today. And this is close, isn't it? This is really close to what the car in the film looks like. Like, I want to say you went out of your way to find a car that matched the actual base model pretty closely. If that's not like a Matchbox Parenti, if that's something they even did, then it's got to be something really close, because that looks so accurate. I love the front end of this. Like, there are these little weld bead areas around the headlights, and just, mate, this thing is ferocious, isn't it? That gunner on the back with the machine gun with the little protective spool, honestly, or the little protective guard, honestly, John, this is some of your finest work, and this is the whole thing about you, my friend. When you just slow your builds down and just focus on the minute details, you smash it out of the park every time. Because this is really good. This is a really solid entry, John, and I love it. I absolutely love it. If you were going for total screen accuracy, it would have been nice to see this with a stripped metal paint job. I know that the actual thing is like a fiberglass, so that's why it's really dark in production photos and really quite like it's borderline. It's just when you're painting it, it's hard to get that material to come through. But at the same time, you've really gone all out, haven't you? The tires, the engine modification, like that's all custom work. The exhaust pipe work is just absurd because it's all just wiggly waggly going in all different directions. I kind of wish the dust filter was raised a little bit out of the body, because in the pictures it is like it's like an inch or so above. But honestly, this is fantastic stuff. It's really close. It's really close to the production, and that's one of the best things about a month like this, because you see people, especially with a time crunch, you see people go all out to create something that's just touched by the material that inspires us. Wonderful work, John. Absolutely wonderful. And after John, how can I not talk about the work of Pierre-Louis Ueder? Carrying on a fine trend of never being able to pronounce your name, my friend. Oh yes. Ah, the Holy V8. What a magnifique entry for this month. Oh yes. Look at the size of this beast. I think this is the whole thing about a month like this, because everyone and their dog was going right. Mad Max month has to look like something from the Fury Road film. That's the depth of my cultural knowledge. And it's like, no, this is the V8 month. You focus on the V8 aspect. Yes, of course, it goes hand in hand with the Mad Max and the last of the V8s. Of course, it does. But it is so nice to see like something as creative as this is like creating text and numbers and the V8 iconography using tires and exhausts and gas cans and just, mate, that's some real scrappy challenge business right there, and I love it, and I'm all for that. I love how there's a real mix. This is what we're talking about, boys and girls. Different coloured metals, different coloured textures. I love how like the engines in the actual truck cab are like this darker, deeper metal that's like you've given that a good solid wash over. But then you look at the one sacred holy V8 that they're worshipping at the back on the top of the trailer, and it's all polished and chrome and delicious. And it would be, because if that's their sacred icon, they are gonna go all out and polish it up and make it nice and clean. What a build! What an entry! I always love improvised armor and scrappy goodness, and I love combining all the different bumpers to make extra tiers of bumper. I really quite like. It looks like you've cut grooves into the headlight casings on that bottom bumper, and that's really quite interesting because we don't see a technique like that very often. Fantastic stuff. And look, as you can see, boys and girls, painting hoses and cables yellow. That's the way to do it because it catches the eye and it stands out and it looks really good. Textbook work, Pierre. Absolutely textbook. Fantastic stuff. I kind of wish one of the things you'd photographed a bit more was the actual double machine gun turret bit at the back of the trailer, because we've only got the one shot, and it looks like there's a bit of custom conversion work there, but you kind of don't spend any time looking at it. You luxuriate over the bits that you're very proud of, like the front cab, and I get that. But there's a lot of this that you kind of ignore in your photos. And I think that's something to revisit, my friend, because we like to see the whole thing. We like to see the whole build. Honestly, fantastic work, Pierre, as always, my friend. I cannot wait to see what else you have in store for us. Oh, yes. And then we have Jonathan Howard's entry from this month. Oh, yes, my friend Jonathan. What can I say? We get the whole vehicle in these photos. Oh, yes. This is, oh my friends, it's always nice to see fresh blood entering the competition. It is interesting to see some of the first builds that people make, because you're going to learn a lot from this. You're going to learn a lot from entering this. And one of the things you're going to learn straight away is if your front windscreen is sliding down the body, you need to glue that in place, because right now the top of that front windscreen is resting in the guy's lap. I can see from the reflections and the thickness of the plastic. Oh boy, front windscreen and the rear windscreen, they've slipped down. You want to push them back up and glue them in place. The little custom conversion bits here, like the boomsticks, they they do the job, don't they? They're very basic. They're very basic, and I think two is a little bit stingy. You could have gone with like five or six, or bundle them up. There's actually a lot for something that gets thrown away in the films. The boomsticks have a lot of conversion work. There's a lot of customization in those weapons, and having little trailing bits of paper or little scraps of fabric to look like little banners. I mean, the absolute monster of an engine. Mate, what a turbocharged beast. I almost feel like that blower is too small for it, but I know it's a combination of engines from Capsule Design, so it's all in scale with itself. I'm not a fan of exhausts pointing down. I've never really it's not okay. I get it from the hot rod scene, like that's a thing, but you are not making a low rider. You are making a wasteland machine, and you want those exhausts to be flaring up and forwards and ferociously, right? The machine gunner on the back is functional. Like, let's be brutally honest, he's painted two colours. He's painted skin and yellow for camouflage, and that's it. The machine gun is basic. The I think the machine gun itself is fine. I think the ammo feed is. Whew, I have questions about that ammo feed because it's very solid and it's very chunky, and the bullets look bigger than the barrel that they're meant to be fired down. And I get the feeling that's a bit from something else that you've kind of hammered into this. But there's a lot that can come from this, and ultimately, so long as you know, just take it all on the chin and go, all right, I've done a lot of good here, but I got to keep improving, you'll go far. Like, I love the fact that you've picked out body panels, different colours. Yes, someone here is taking notes. Love it. Absolutely love it. But at the same time, wonderful stuff, my friend Jonathan. Worthy of a V8 accolade, my friend. Oh, yes. Bird, finally, my brothers, how? How could I not look at the work at one of the very first entrants and winners in the competition's history? Oh, yes, how could I not look at returning with a theme from the bowels of 2020? How could I not look at the work at the one, the only Tony Peacock? Oh, yes, my friend. In a lot of ways, I bet this feels like returning to your roots, returning to the wasteland roots that you came from. Oh, yes. Although I'll say this, it's like play a game of spot the purple, because there's no purple on this at all. How long has it been since we used to joke about you painting all your cars purple? What's it been, like 5 years? Is this what getting old feels like? The answer is yes. Honestly, Tony, fantastic stuff this month. I love the extension. I love the chop job that you've done on the front of this cab, and then that wonderful engine you've supplanted in, all the fiddly wire work and oil barrels at the back, and honestly, great stuff. The conversion on the passenger with the boomstick, like it's functional and it works. I just wish his pose was a bit more dynamic. If he's holding it there to like go, yeah, charge my brothers, I feel like the actual stick should be angled like 45 degrees forward, so he's almost like he's raising the spear. He's like pointing forwards with it. But honestly, fantastic stuff, Tony. Really good to see you in this competition. Although I'm noticing a distinct lack of skulls. That was something you always used to love putting in your builds, little hidden skulls around like wheel wells and running boards and you name it. There used to be skulls festooning your builds. There's not a single skull here. What's going on? Wonderful work, Tony. It is so good to see you taking part in this competition, my friend. Oh, yes. But it is now time, my friends, for everyone's new favourite returning segment. That's right, it's time for the spanner and spoon of praise and punishment. Oh, yes. And what can I say? The winner of this month's Chrome Spanner goes to the one, the only Ayatollah of rock and roller. That's right, Nathan Coolmans and his Razor Cola build for this month. Oh yes, what can I say? I mean, I know online you were talking about how you would, like this month you were going, right, I'm going to do this as screen accurate as I can. I'm going to make this the the recovered, reclaimed, built up final form of the V8 Interceptor. I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to make it look as accurate as I can. And what can I say? You've done it. You've nailed this on the head. This is as good as it gets. And all the little modifications, because there are some little fiddly bits that you've added on and changed and had to modify, like the blower on the zombie head that you've had to modify into the skull with some of the tiniest, fiddliest little plasticard work. Honestly, mate, this is textbook quality. This is what we talk about when we say, when people try and do accurate screen recreations. This is it. This is up there, Nathan. Honestly. And what can I say? Right? when it came to picking the winners, we're talking like a point difference between you and first place. Like this was up there. This was in the running, my friend. Oh yes. Fantastic work. If you were going to recreate the Razor Cola, this is how you do it. This is what it's about, boys and girls. Perfect paint job, perfect execution, perfect minute detailing work. Showroom quality, as we've come to expect from you, my friends. Which means if Nathan is the winner of this month's Chrome Spanner, then yes, it is time to talk about this month's wooden spoon. And I think it can only really go to one person, and it breaks my heart because it's not a bad build. There's a lot of good ideas going on here. It's just messy and heavy and rushed, and it looks rushed. Oh, Shane, what on earth have you gifted us this month to look at? What is this mess on four wheels that you've submitted? Because even if we just focus like on some of the scale issues, like that crossbow boomstick launcher, I'm guessing that's what that's meant to be on the front ram. Like that's clearly a bit from like a toy or a miniature or something, and it's so horribly out of scale with the little guy, the little gunner. But then the boomsticks are just I can't even tell if they're cocktail sticks or just little bits of rod or metal wire that are just painted so randomly. There's just so much just random colour splotched all over this, and it's hard to really figure any of it out. Like, is that a toilet seat on the crane arm? Is that have you put a toilet seat connected on the back of that? Why? What benefit does that add to the model? That doesn't look good. That does not look good, my friend. Shane. The paint job just it's that special kind of camouflage that hurts to look at if you stare at it too long, because it's just your eyes trying to find some kind of smooth surface to just rest on, and it can't find anything because it's all patchy and splotchy, and some of it looks wet and some of it looks like you've just stabbed it with the brush. And honestly, mate, you come on. Come on, Shane, you're better than this. You're better than this, my friend. I mean, I do appreciate how you've picked out, some of the door. You've picked out a door panel in a different colour. You've picked it out in that teal blue. This is something you needed to slow down when it came to the paint. This honestly, this is a perfect example of I left the painting to the last minute, and here we are. I had about 8 hours left on the clock, and I was like, right, we're getting this painted right now. There's nothing. You've not changed the wheels. I've got those wheels. I've got those tyres and rims. I know that is just the base silver and the base black rubber of the tyre, and you've put like a tiny bit of brown on there and called it a day. Like, come on, Shane. Come on, my friend. What are you doing? What are you doing, guy? Yes, enjoy the wooden spoon, my friend, because you got a lot to pick up on. Yeah. But yes, enough beating around the bush, my brothers, because it is time to start those big block engines. It is time to start the drum roll, because the winner of Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for February 2024 is Molinaro Dominique. Yes, congratulations, mon ami. Come on down. Let's see what fine prizes you have won with this fine entry of yours. Oh, Molinaro, my friend, it is good to see you performing at your best once again. I love it. I absolutely love how outrageous. Well, the whole admin team absolutely loved this build this month. What can I say? It is the cult of the V8, isn't it? It's the shrine on wheels. I mean, I've no idea. I've no idea at all if that giant engine on the back would even do anything. But it just looks so good, doesn't it? I mean, turning the blower into a little gunner's nest for the heavy machine gunner on the back. Having all the barrels represent the rocker block covers, and just, where all the pistons and all the motion in the ocean would be. Oh, mate, it is a fine build that you have done here this month, my friend. And this is the thing, because we knew going into this month, we knew looking at this scene, whenever you touch on anything Mad Max, we're going to see a lot of really sort of classic takes on the cars that you see in the films, and that's fine, but we do look out for people that think outside the box and try and make something truly unique and wild, and you have done that here, my friend. I mean, I love how so much of this is done by hand and is custom, like bending sheet styrene in hot water with little clamps to make that wonderful blower. Like, mate, this is the work that you are renowned for, my insane French friend. Oh yes. Love it, absolutely love it, Molinaro. A return of your glorious ability to this fine competition. What can I say? It has been too long. It is like shaking hands with an old friend, and I love it. I absolutely adore this. Because it's all the fiddly little details, as well as just the overall insanity of the build, isn't it? Like you get a feeling like all the oil drums. Okay, yeah, they're meant to represent a part of the engine, but they have a function. They're that blazing icon held up into the sky like a steering wheel in the hand of a warrior. All those wonderful exhausts at the back, and you know some of them are going to be shooting flames out the back as someone comes up the rear trying to overtake. I just love it. I love all the little fiddly details. I love how you can even fit in all these little GW skulls, and they work because you've painted them to look like metal, and you've 3D printed actual skulls at the correct scale and painted them to look like skulls. So you've got the mix, you've got the combination. Oh, it just works, my friend. It works so well. And you see that starting photo, and it's such a transformation that this car has gone through. Like, mate, what can I say? It is so good to have you in this competition, my friend. As always, the level that we have come to expect from you, Molinaro, and enjoy returning to the winner's podium after so long, after so many years, my friend, and enjoy the 2 implements of carnage sprue, 1 and 2, that are on their way to you now, my friend. Oh yes. Yes, but if Molinaro has taken first, then who of the sponsors chosen as their special choice for this month? Who do they deem worthy to ride into the gates of Valhalla? That's right, it is the work of your good friend and mine, Nick Kitch! Yes, congratulations, Nick, for taking the Sponsors' Choice Award this month. Honestly, your work continues to just develop in leaps and bounds. Look at you with the original source lighting on that muzzle flare. Look at that heat work going into the actual barrel. Mate, I just love it. I love the conversion work. I love the little skull face that you've modelled on there and painted on the gunner. Like, it's all the fiddly little extra bits. It's all the black lining around panel lines, around doing little headlight and doing little tail light details. The streaking rust on the roof of this build. Mate, come on, Nick, my friend. My friend, fantastic, absolutely fantastic work as always. Enjoy the implements of Carnage 1 and 2 sprues that are on their way to you, my friend. Oh, yes. As always, thank you all for taking part this month, my friends. I know it breaks your heart that I can't talk about every single build. And what can I say? This month's been really good. This month's been so good. What have we had? We've had 30 finished entrants. 30 finished entrants in a timed 4-week speed paint competition, speed conversion and paint competition. Honestly, you guys, you do some brilliant work. As always, a massive thank you to our sponsors for their continued support, and Nick Iyer of North Star Military Figures for providing the prizes and theme from this month. As always, if you fancy taking part in this competition, why not head on over to Gaslands UK's Facebook page and see what it's all about. If you've enjoyed today's video, why not leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you get notified every 4 weeks when one of these videos comes out. And if you didn't like it, why not leave a thumbs down and tell us why you think we suck, because that would be great. It's all about the engagement, baby. Oh yes. No, as always, thank you to every single member of the admin team that goes into the running and the manufacture of this brilliant competition of ours. As always, from the top, there's a massive thank you to Matt Reeve, Colin Harvard, David Bousset, Darren Phillips, and myself, James Hall of JH Miniatures. Head on over to Big Cartel to check out some of the merchandise going into the second month of 2024. Hashtag buy James a mug, because I want me a mug. Thank you all for watching, my friends, and I will see you in March's competition. May you ride eternal, shiny and chrome!